is it so dark in here? Ow. Oh, here's the light switch.
At some point in our lives, we probably encountered an LED that was too bright or a motor that was running too fast. Now, these may sound like two very different problems, but they can actually be fixed with the same solution.
So here's the problem. The components you see here only have 2 pins. To turn on the component, one pin goes to power and the other goes to ground. Simple, right? But if we can only turn it on and off, how do we find a middle ground? Before we find the solution to this problem, we're going to need some background information. If you've worked with electronics before, you may have heard of analog and digital signals. These signals are simply data that goes to or comes out of an electronic component. Analog signals are continuous and are not limited to a finite set of values, but are susceptible to unwanted disturbances that can change the actual value. On the other hand, digital signals can only be ones or zeros, or in other words, on or off, and they are much more efficient. So how would we simulate an analog input with a digital signal? Here is where PWM, or pulse width modulation, comes in. PWM is a way to control analog components using digital outputs by adjusting the frequency of the pulse. We will also need to become familiar with the term duty cycle, which is the percentage of time that the output is on versus the period. On this graph, we can see that each wave repeats every 2 seconds, meaning that its period is 2 seconds. We can also see that the output is on for 1 second during this time. This means that the duty cycle is 1/2 or 50%. Now imagine if this graph was the LED input. When you look at the LED, you would see it blinking on and off every 1 second. Now if we decrease the period to a pulse that is too fast for our eyes to process, we would see a dimmer LED since it is only on for half the time. Diving into the world of engineering can feel overwhelming and confusing, so I hope this video helped clarify one of the most important concepts of digital electronics and hopefully inspire you to start creating.